Howdy guys, how's it going? So just finished the hike in, and I think I found the type of spot that I'm looking for. So it's not supposed to rain any for like the next 3 or 4 days at the very least. So I wanted to do a creekside camp setup because I've got a new ultralight tent that I've had now for about 2 weeks that I've been dying to actually get out here in the mountain. I wanted to hike a bit in these new Pike Trail snake gators. Just to see how they feel, because at first I thought they're really solid and stiff with the panels that they'd be uncomfortable, but you don't even know you're wearing them. The only thing I got to do right here is clear some of these large rocks out of the way, because I'm just going to be using this Red Camp fold out foam pad. So I need to make sure that there's no rocks, no sticks, nothing underneath. Normally whenever I use a pad like this with a tent, I'll take leaf debris and stuff, make sure there's nothing sharp in it, and I'll put it on the ground to kind of make a bit more cushion. And then I got my reusable emergency space blanket. I'll take and lay it over top of that, put my tent on it, and then between that cushion and then these pads, that's a beautiful night's sleep. There's not really any good way to get any of the leaf debris down here. Like most everything here is pretty compressed and decomposed from fall. But where this is right beside the water, all this low-laying ground is super soft. You just wouldn't want to camp in a spot like this if it was going to rain a lot. Not because this creek is going to flood over this embankment right here, because this is a pretty 3-foot embankment it would have to rise up. But all the water and runoff and stuff from this steep hillside would come and collect here, and then you'd just be sitting in a muddy mess. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to have to move nearly as many as I thought, because I was originally looking at that area. But this area right here feels really soft, and it also seems to be the flattest. There's really only about 2 rocks right here we need to remove from the equation. And I'm not just wearing these snake gaiters because I wanted to try them out. This is also prime copperhead territory. And I'm wearing, kind of thinner, breathable military boots, so gives you a peace of mind about where you step in. And you also want to watch too, though, when you're bending down around rocks and things, that you don't stick your hand somewhere you don't want it to go. Wayland kukri with me, because where I'm new to this tent, I've only set it up in the backyard, and it's been a bit since I've done that. I done it right when I got it 2 weeks ago. So just in case the rain fly, I need to pull it back a bit more than I envisioned. Get all these little briars out of the way. I took and sharpened this bad boy up, and now you can shave with it. So yeah, believe it or not, this right here is our whole tent and tent stakes. The only thing that's not in here that would normally be in a tent bag is your structure poles, and that is because this is a trekking pole tent. Let's get this bad boy laid out. I took and owned plenty of lightweight tents, but this is the first true ultralight tent that I've ever owned, and this will be the first time staying in one. I decide though if I think I'm gonna have the front of this face this hillside, because it is gonna get down to about, I think, like 55 tonight, and so some cool air will come up the back side of the rain fly, but I think I'm gonna have the front facing this way. The other cool thing is this one comes pre-attached to the body. You can separate them if you'd like. Yeah, the fly itself just has these loops, and then the body has these hooks. And then it comes with guy lines and these nice red aluminum stakes. Now when I first set this up in my backyard, I kind of had to come back and play around with how to stake this thing out and the number of stakes they give you, because at first I just took and staked down the body and I thought the rain fly would be separate, but they have a loop here in the rain fly as well. And so then you take some of your cordage, which was pre-tied on 3 of the ends, and I had to do the other one. I think it just got missed. And so we'll pull that out, and then you can go back and adjust it later on. This is the first one, so it's not that big of a deal. We got that one. Then I found instead of going like kind of out and pulling, you want to come more straight back. You still got to come out some just so that the floor will be pulled out wide, but you want to just kind of come back. Loosen that a bit. Oh, that's the wrong way. Hopefully get lucky with stake placement. So yeah, I didn't end up using these hiking. I could have just brought one and kept it in my pack. I just wasn't sure how steep of terrain I was going to decide to go with. But these are collapsible trekking poles. I took and found this company whenever I was looking for a hammock quilt. Just pop out like that right there, and you got yourself an adjustable trekking pole. Today, its only purpose is to be our center pole. So we'll unzip this. Gotta check and see if Nightcap makes a tarp out of this same like steel nylon material. I definitely got to get one of those because this material is super lightweight, and I did leave this up in a storm. There. And then with this pole, we'll just pull that tab so that it takes tension off. Get it where we want it. Because like I said, we will go back and check these corners a bit better. And that will stand by itself, but you got to run this guy line out and stake her down. Because like if you had a tree or something that was close by, you could run it this way. You could even probably take and just run this straight up from this loop to a tree or a tripod and not even have to worry about having the trekking pole if you didn't want that in your way. Tie a loop in this guideline here. And that puts us, because this ground right here is really soft. That's what I was worried about. Gotta find the notch on the stake, put it down on the ground, and I think I'm even going to set a rock on it just to make sure that doesn't slip off. We'll come and stake out, I don't remember which side the door is on. So the door's on that side. So for now we'll stake out this. We might take and roll both sides back and just camp with, that way more airflow can come in. We'll just kind of get an idea later how the temp is. Then we come around to the back side. Kind of go along and adjust the straps as you need to. But yeah, this is our ultralight tent. And as you can see, there's actually quite a bit of surface area covered by this bad boy. Open her up. Yeah, I think what I'll end up doing is probably just leaving this one end right here open. But this thing actually has a ton more room, like way more than you'd think when like just looking at its pack size. So here's a look at the interior. Plenty of room for one person, a bit of gear storage there, but then you have this whole vegetable area right here, which is more than enough for just one pack, fully zipped. You can fit, you know, a ton more gear in here if you needed to keep some stuff dry. Right there is the hook and ring system I was talking about, with how the rain fly is kept off the tent body. Because that's the thing I have against, and why I've never took and looked into getting one of those single layer ultralight tents, is because with those, the condensation and stuff on the interior of the tent is just going to be ridiculous. Much prefer something like this, and with the weight and size of it, you really just can't go wrong. So yeah, that's a good reference for, I can still stick that way up in underneath there. That's got all my gear loaded on it. And it just comes to this one side of the vestibule. We can get our sleeping pad in here. The only difficult thing about these one-person tents and ultralight tents is it makes it a lot more difficult for me to show you guys what I'm doing. I'm taking have the brown side up. Don't need that heat reflected. But yeah, this ground right here is super soft. There's nothing underneath the tent. And I mean, there you go. There's still tons of room at the head, tons of room at the foot. So like you're not going to be, you know, squeezed in like you're in a bivy bag with this thing. Now I had my Woobie and my poncho together. And instead of taking it apart, I found out that when tied together, they both fit inside this high-speed daddy bag. So, really glad to know that, because that makes it really more, it makes it really convenient to carry and to pack up. I knew I wouldn't need the poncho, so there was no need for me to mess around untying it. I want to see if I can fit that pad in between the poncho and the blanket and still be able to take and drape it over myself comfortably. If not, no big deal. Yeah, where this pad folds up, it's going to be pretty difficult, I think, to get it in between there, so I'm not going to worry about that. I'm just going to throw it over myself, leave the poncho on it. That does add warmth, but normally I just end up sleeping with my feet tucked in it anyways. The only other thing I got to do with my sleeping arrangement is I brought an inflatable pillow with me. Well, I'm not sure which pocket I put my pillow in, so we're just going to let that go for now. I know it's in there somewhere. This ground's really soft, so the chair's going to sink in quite a bit. We'll have to find some rocks or something. Alright, we're going to make some coffee, and I'm going to try something a bit different. It's got Vulcan's new titanium water bottle, which I'm really excited about because I've been wanting the titanium cylindrical bottle. I mentioned this in the last video. Because it can fit inside hydration pockets and stuff like that. Still going to continue to use the titanium canteen all the time, and this winter probably using these in conjunction with one another. But I got a pump filter with me, so we'll be able to filter more water here in a short bit. It's a nice thing about being right beside the creek. But I've drunk down to about right there probably, and I'm going to take and stick this whole thing on the stove. Obviously keep the lid off and do the water that way, because I just brought a 750 milliliter cup, and I brought a new method of making coffee that I've never done in the woods before, and that is a pour over. Like a thing, you set it on top of the cup, you pour it over the ground, you're good to go. Table, nice flat spot to put our stove. This time I have 91% alcohol, so it should burn a lot better. Still haven't cleaned the stove though. Still gotta make sure we have alcohol left because we got to heat up some of our food today. Okay. Before we take the lid off, let's just kind of get an idea. Seems to cook a lot better. So it gets going through them ports. While that's doing that, we're going to put this together. This is the thing that is going to hold our drip filter. over our cup. Okay. There you go. Okay, that should be fine. And as our side item tonight, we just got a classic can of green beans. I did not check to see before I left, but I'm hoping that'll fit, and that fits just fine and dandy. I actually could fit a much larger cup if you needed it to, so that'll be good to go. Already starting to see some little tiny bubbles forming on the bottom, so that's good. The wind, there's just a light breeze blowing this direction. Oh, it's hot. That was definitely not what I intended to do. See if that has enough left to get that to a boil or not. Okay, that right there is a rolling boil now, which is way more than you need for coffee, but where I spilled that, I just went ahead and scooped up a little bit of clean, clear water out of the creek. So we've done a rolling boil, we're good to go. I'm gonna take now and set this here. We got some Pursuit Awakening coffee. Smells amazing. That with 2 of these gloves on one hand, I'll at the least be able to. I know that I could do the thing where you put a little toggle in there and get it off. Ooh, but yeah, that thing is very hot. That right there was almost not enough. And there we have a nice, beautiful black cup of coffee. Okay, so now the question is, how did the coffee turn out? Oh yeah, but besides the hair that I got in my mouth with it, that right there is very good. Can't ask for a much better spot to sip on coffee than this. Alrighty, so I'm going to take and filter me out some water because I got to save the rest of my alcohol for the stove to warm up the green beans. I'm just going to whip out, this is a hand pump Survivor water filter. And this right here is one of the deepest spots I can find. I've seen this little log right here, so I'm going to kind of tuck that underneath in the bottom a little bit. Just get any old water that was in there out. And that means I know I got a good spot. Clip that to the lip of the bottle. This can rest inside without kinking. Nice spot right there. And the nice thing about these pump filters is you ain't got to worry about your battery dying or getting damaged. It's like as long as the pump's okay, and as long as your arm works, you can get water pretty quick. And there we go. We got a full water bottle. I don't know the exact time, but I feel like that only took me about 2 minutes, 2.5 minutes. Well, it is about to get dark, and I'm hungry, so before the darkness rolls in, we're going to make something to eat. I've got 2 of these and a can of green beans. I'm going to open this boy up the old-fashioned way since we don't have a pull top. And I took some dirt and put on this rock to make like a flat spot for that to sit. We're going to have to like stir the green beans the whole time just to warm them up without burning them. Might not have been a bad idea to leave some of the water in there, but it's too late now. Alright, let's get these green beans a-going. There we go. It's like a breeze so delicate I really can't even feel it. Like you can see the leaves barely moving. A good way to do this, to be honest. I think at some point I'm still going to end up scorching these a little bit. Make sure this will sit on here, okay? And it will. Alrighty, that should be plenty good to warm these up. That is a steaming. Oh, I wish I would have thought about the dirt filling thing whenever I was boiling the water in the bottle there. It's a very nice day. Alrighty guys, it is gonna be time to hit the hay. I'm just gonna lay my sunglasses on my bag right there. You guys can see that okay. I'm gonna go ahead and untie my boots outside here so that I don't have the door open too long because these bugs are loving this headlamp. I also took I brought my little Gabrielle lantern with me. So that right there is gonna be the interior lighting because there's a hook up top there. In there. Boot off. it off. And just for example, even with that lantern here at the very peak, I can sit straight up. If you're new, I mean, yeah, soft as this ground is, and with this foam pad, this feels very, very comfortable. Plus, you also get just a little bit of added cushion by laying on top of the Weeby blanket. That'll be all right. Let me see if oh yeah, for some reason I thought this was like a lot further reach than it is. So we just do this right here and pull that down there. Zip this up. And that's going to do it for this one up into this point, guys. So until the morning, good night. Oh, whew. Oh, good morning, guys. How's it going? Oh, last night was just an amazingly peaceful night. You can't beat sleeping right by a creek, man. I'm telling you. It's really nice. It ended up being very still. I did keep the door closed because that cold air did sink down. I had this kind of just stowed over my legs and my feet. But I'm glad that it ended up being a nice cool night. It felt like it was probably about, like I said, about 55 to 58 degrees Fahrenheit. Being down in like a valley section like this right beside water really does help with the cooling. And I really do love this tent. I mean, I dig the design. I mean, the only thing people might not be a huge fan of, depending on how just your size and everything else, is like this, the mesh and stuff here just is a bit drapey, and there's not really anything you can do. You can pull the fly out more, like at these points right here, and that will pull that back. So if you have like a tree or your other trekking pole you want to pull that up with, that would give you a little bit and prevent the swaying and stuff. Same goes for like right here, head area, you could pull that out more, but for me it doesn't bother me. So yeah, all the stuff did great. Beautiful setup. But that's going to do it for this one, guys. You know, if you're interested in any of the gear, I try to list everything down in the description that I can still find online. Rather it's Amazon, the company's website directly, one way or another. There will be a gear list down below in the description. Links to my other channels, links to my personal eBay page, all that. Just all the links, you know where they're at. They're in the description. So make sure you hit that thumbs up button. Subscribe if you haven't already. Hit me up in the comments section. Make sure you've clicked on the notification bell so that you get notified directly whenever I post a video. Also, if you have the YouTube app on your phone, you can go and hit the notification bell on there as well. That way you get a notification directly to your cellular device. And with all that said, until the next one, guys, adios.